This time we're at Video Game Retro Market Norwich, hunting for absolute bangers for the collection, and I managed to find what is without a shadow of a doubt the mintiest N64 game I've ever seen.
Game Pickups! Video Game Judgement! World Trips! Live Game Hunting! Oh yeah!
Again folks, and welcome back to a very special episode. That's because this time we are headed to a video game market right here in the fine city of Norwich. Video Game Retro Market Norwich in its second year, but this year a brand new location bang in the heart of the fine city of Norwich at the Forum. I absolutely love going to these gaming markets as they are the best places to find the weird, the wonderful, the rare and the holy grail items you can find nowhere else. But I always like to have somewhat of a plan, and this time I've made somewhat of a want list of the games I'm hoping to find. Starting off with some cheap bangers which I just haven't come across any time recently. So first on the list is Duke Nukem Time to Kill for the PlayStation 1. It's a relatively cheap game, but one I just don't seem to come across very often. Then, building up, we have Dungeons and Dragons for the Megadrive, a game I've been looking for a very long while. Now with my Wii collection, it's pretty much there. There's only a very small amount of games I'm still looking for, one of which is Castlevania Judgement. Then we're starting to get into some of the heavier hitters. Super Star Wars Empire Strikes Back for the SNES is the final SNES game I need for the Super Star Wars trilogy. And finally, rounding off this list is a game I have never seen complete. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Hyperstone Heist for the Megadrive. And it has an eye-watering, very expensive price tag. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and please subscribe, as I put new videos out every Saturday live at 5, as well as bonus content throughout the week, and I really want you folks along for the ride. Now wish me luck, let's head to the games market. Here we go then, bright and early on a Sunday morning at the Forum in the heart of Norwich. You can see some people are abseiling here for charity, but the real main event today is the video game market held inside. And I was lucky enough to have VIP entry half an hour before everyone else, and I knew that gave me just about enough time to have a really good look around. And as soon as you come in, you see these really cool art pieces here. I think if I had more wall space, these would look really cool. Obviously Funkos, I don't think you can ever go to a gaming market without seeing Funkos. And the thing is about this gaming market here in the Forum, it is fairly small, but it's definitely a case of quality over quantity. Every single stall was packed with decent stuff. Sometimes you will see a lot of stands with not a great deal on them, but every single stand here had absolutely incredible stock. But it wasn't just games for sale, there was also games to play. You can see this area here had loads and loads of vintage consoles and retro PCs all set up ready to play. What I was trying to do in this first little section here, before the main crowds got in, was get an idea of what was for sale, to try and scope out what items I was possibly going to pick up. It's one of the hardest things when you go to a gaming market, deciding what to pull the trigger on. Of course, I do not have an infinite budget, and I do have to be picky with what I pick up. And I'm sure when I see the item I want to pick up this time, I will know. And it's at that point that I will drop the cash and hopefully add something very exciting to the collection here at this gaming market. Now we've had a quick walk around all the stalls, it's time to jump in and start looking at some of these items, and this one takes me back. This was the original Game Boy which I had back in the day, my very first gaming console. The exact packaging here is just so incredibly nostalgic for me and very tempting. Now I'm actually getting tempted to come out of collecting handheld consoles altogether, but this one is drawing me back in. And this stall here had some really nice handheld consoles. Like, check this out, a pink Game Boy Micro. It's not very often you see these, let alone in the box. It's such a cool console. I don't know what it is about the Game Boy Micro. Maybe it's just the fact it's a rare console. I just love it so much. Some really nice handheld stuff here, including box games like this Mario World and the 6 golden coins. Again, was one of my very first games on my OG Game Boy. And this always takes me back. The Tiger Electronics Pokemon Pokedex. I never owned one of these, but honestly, I've always wanted to own one since I very first saw one. Like I said at the start of this video, gaming markets are the best places to find the weird and the wonderful, the games you don't see every day, even if it's slight variants like this Batman Arkham City right here with this lenticular cover. Really cool to see. And this is a really cool one as well, the collector's edition of Far Cry 4. Now I would have possibly picked this one up, but normally it does come with a cardboard outer case and a bobblehead, so I did pass on this one. But this one is getting really difficult to find, especially complete and in good condition, so very cool to see, and definitely one I'll be keeping an eye out for. But of course it's not just retro here at the market, there's also some modern games like this game right here, Dead Cells Return to Castlevania Collector's Edition for the Switch. This looked really nice. It was very tempted. In fact, we do come back and have a better look at this one later on, as this was an incredible Collector's Edition. Loads of Switch games on this stall, and also a lot of Dreamcast games, and it's actually surprising how affordable a lot of Dreamcast games can be. It's always a console I don't collect for too much because I very rarely see them in the wild, but I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye out for more Dreamcast games, as honestly I'm surprised how inexpensive they can be. Much like the Wii, I have most of the GameCube games which I am looking for my collection, but not this game, Pokemon Channel. This is one you do not see very often. Now, unfortunately, this was missing the manual, and also unfortunately it was not the English release, so I did pass. But this one was really cheap. I think they had 45 quid on this one, which is a really good deal. It's a bit of a strange one, but it's Pokemon, it's GameCube, and one day I'll have it in my collection. Anywhere I hunt, I'm always looking for steelbooks I still need for my collection, and this is one which I only recently picked up for the PlayStation 3. A very hard steelbook to find. Dead Rising 2 Zombrex Edition with the pen. This one had a £40 price tag on because it's incredibly hard to find, and this is another heavy hitter right here. Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, £245. Thankfully one I added to my collection many years ago for a lot cheaper. But it's not just modern and retro games here. At the gaming market, there's also toys and Pokemon cards, and some really cool both modern and retro toys here. Now, I'm a real sucker for both retro and modern toys. I love collecting them all, but I am getting more picky with what I pick up because honestly, just due to lack of space. But vintage Ghostbusters figures are one that always pull at my heartstrings, and of course my first love, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Some really nice bits here, but not for today. Not for today. Here we have our first pickups of the day from a local seller, Secondhand Treasures Norfolk, who I'll link in the description down below. The first of two Xbox 360 steelbooks, with this one right here, Vanquish, with the slipcase in really nice condition. And the second steelbook, once again I picked up for the Xbox 360, is this one right here, Prince of Persia. Xbox 360 games have never been hotter than they are right now, especially steelbooks. And these are two steelbooks I have never seen before. Both of these for 20 quid is a great way to start a day hunting here at the games market. Secondhand Treasures Norfolk had a really good selection of video games, consoles, and even wrestling figures. And had I had more time, I'd have definitely dug a bit more into this box of wrestling figures, as it looked like some really interesting figures here. These were really cool to see. Graded games. Not something I've ever really been interested in myself because I love opening my games and playing them, but I can understand the idea of them maybe being a very good investment for the future. Emphasis on the maybe. Really cool to see, and trust me, we're just getting started here at this amazing market. This store was definitely one of my highlights of the day. N64 guy. It was all N64. Loose games, boxed games, consoles, controllers, you name it, he had N64 games for days, and at really good prices, and an incredibly large selection of boxed N64 games. Now, I have a fairly decent selection of boxed N64 games in my collection already, around 40 to 50 games. And honestly, sometimes I forget what games I have. I do pick this game up multiple times, Quake for the N64. I have to remember, I have both Quake and Quake 2 boxed for the N64 already, but there's definitely games which I'm missing from my boxed N64 collection. For many years, I would only buy boxed N64 games. It's only in recent times that I've started buying some games loose because prices are getting higher. This one was very very tempting. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. This is one you do not see very often for the N64, let alone boxed. It was very, very, very tempting. But, spoiler alert, coming up later, I do pick up what is, without a doubt, the mintiest N64 game I've ever seen from this stall. But this was super cool. Spot the Repro. They had a fake copy of the game and a real copy of the game. So you can kind of compare to kind of see if you can tell the difference. And on the cover, it's not that obvious. But when you go to the back of these games, it's the text that gives it away. The text on the back of the Repro copy here was blurry and just didn't have that same kind of clarity as the official product. Very cool to see and very informative here at the market. Now, I've heard a lot of good things about this game right here, Mischief Makers, and for 20 quid, this one was very, very tempting, but nothing could prepare me for the next game I was about to see. I've talked about it at the start of this video. It is not Quake. It is without a doubt the mintiest N64 game I've ever seen and one I needed for the collection. Here we have it then, folks, the mintiest N64 game I have ever seen. Donkey Kong 64, complete in the box with the expansion pack. This is a game I've been trying to get hold of in this kind of condition for absolutely years. This is the dictionary definition of mint. It is the mintiest N64 game I've ever seen. That right there then will probably be our big pickup of the day here at the Norwich Games Market. But there's loads of other things to see and do here. And this was quite cool to see. FIFA 96 Big Box Edition for the Sega Saturn. A lot of Saturn games were in cardboard cases. Quite interesting to see this one was in a plastic case. Here we have another game which was on our want list from the start of the video, Super Empire Strikes Back for the SNES. Now this one had a £60 price tag and it was in very, very good condition, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't quite mint condition. I've found the other two games in this trilogy in mint, so I'll hold out to find this one in that very, very sought after mint condition, because honestly, when it comes to retro game collecting, condition is very, very important, such as this right here, a game me and my wife have been looking for a very, very long while, Blues Brothers 2000 for the N64. Now this was a reproduction box, but an original cartridge. We looked at both of these because honestly, I'm quite happy to buy it if it is cut only with the reproduction box. But unfortunately, when I eventually get this open, you will see the cartridge wasn't quite in the condition you'd be wanting to pay for an over £100 cart-only game. It was slightly faded on top, and we did decide to pass on this one. This is a game I've been looking for many, many years, and sadly today, it doesn't look like we'll be ticking it off the list. By this time, we'd gone around the gaming market once. We were on to our second lap. I like to do 2 or 3 laps of every gaming market just in case I miss something or I can snag a bit of a deal later on in the day. There are some really cool bits on here, some pretty decent PlayStation 2 titles, some really nice collector's edition controllers, and 2 very minty boxed N64 games, both of which hold a very special place in my heart, as during high school I used to play a lot of N64 football games, so I did have both of those games CIB in my collection already, but some really nice bits here, including some more surprisingly affordable Dreamcast games. Here we have another steelbook, so a little pile of games here, but on the side you can see the Days Gone steelbook. Now I wasn't sure if I already had this one in the collection. I do have a collector's edition of Days Gone, and unfortunately this was a steelbook I needed for the collection. I missed it this time, so hopefully in the future we can find it again. By this point of the day, I had really been bitten by the boxed N64 bug, and here is a game I've been meaning to add to my collection for a very long while, Castlevania for the N64. I'm a massive, massive fan of the Castlevania franchise, and this one is sorely missing from my collection, and definitely one I'll be adding in the future very soon. If I hadn't dropped that money earlier on Donkey Kong 64, I'd have probably been tempted to pick this one up, but another day, hopefully we can grab it. These were cool to see as well, video game soundtracks. I'm a massive CD collector, and these were very cool to see, and something you don't see enough of. Without a shadow of a doubt, this stall right here had the best selection of Xbox 360 games of the day, including this Dante's Inferno Death Edition. This is one I've passed up a few times in CX, and definitely one which is on my radar very soon. A lot of these Xbox 360 games are only going to go up in value, such as this one right here, Asterix in the Olympic Games. I'm sure a couple of months ago that was a £30 to £40 game. It's now £75. This is a steelbook I'm missing for my collection. It must be very rare with that £40 price tag, but trust me, there is some pricey Xbox 360 games, and like I said, these are probably only to go up in value, especially games like this one right here, Painkiller. And this was a promotional copy, not for resale, much like all of these games right here. Every game you can see here which look like they have faded spines were actually promo, not for resale games, and they were all sealed. Very, very cool to see, and who knows, maybe in the future I may look into collecting. It's a very interesting subset, but have I left it too long? It will have been possible to collect the entire set. We saw this earlier on, but I wanted to have a closer look at this Dead Cells Return to Castlevania Collector's Edition, and this thing was super cool. So you can see here it has art cards, pin badges, postcards, of course a copy of the game, and this is a game I've been really interested to play, but I think I'm going to hold out for the PlayStation 5 version of this game. But let me know in the comments down below if you've played this game specifically. I've played a bit of Dead Cells, but not Return to Castlevania. So I said earlier at this very stall, I am considering not collecting handheld consoles anymore, and I start seeing cool games like this. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the Game Boy, which is a game I've never played, and of course it's a Turtles game, I really want to play it, and a game I've never owned on the Game Boy, The Legend of Zelda. I think I've already convinced myself, probably I'm still going to be collecting for handheld consoles. Now this is a Master System game I've never seen before, Rambo 3, and I didn't realise until I held a physical copy of this game, this is actually a light gun game, and now this game has me very intrigued. There's only a small amount of light gun games on the Sega Master System, and I really enjoy them. It's just something about that 8-bit goodness. So yeah, this is definitely a game I'm hoping to add to my collection in the future. My wife came along with me to the gaming market this time, and this was her first pickup of the day, 2 Point Hospital Jumbo Edition, as this came with all the DLCs on the cartridge. This looks like a really fun game and a brilliant way to have all of these DLCs physically on a cartridge rather than having to download them. A nice pickup. This is why I always like to do at least 2 laps of the games market. I nearly missed this game, which was on our hit list from the start of the video, Duke Nukem Time to Kill for the PlayStation 1 for £10. Just a game I've never seen in the wild, so very happy to pick this one up as I'm a massive Duke Nukem fan. This one was boxed, complete, at the right price, and honestly just really happy to finally add a copy of this game to my collection and fill a very specific subsection of my PS1 collection. Moving on, we have a little bit more PS1 perusal, and I would say I have about 95% of PlayStation 1 games which I want for my collection. It's just find those last few games that I need for the collection. This is a game for the Megadrive, which I do have but only loose, simply because Sonic and Knuckles can be a real pain to find boxed because of the cardboard box. This next game is a game I'm sorely missing, but it is a £200 game. One I will definitely add to the collection someday, just sadly with the price tag not today. But slowly going over some more of these Mega Drive games, and what do I catch out the side of my eye? Dungeons and Dragons for the Mega Drive. Boxed and complete, a little more than I was hoping to pay for this game, but I'm just very happy to find this game I've been looking for a very long while. One thing I always keep an eye out for at any gaming market anywhere in the UK is Mega CD games, as these are the best places to find these games. It is a console that not a lot of people collect for, you don't see them very often, and they are hard to find. And normally I hope to find these at gaming markets, but sadly, this time at least, there was nothing I needed for the collection. Next up, we have my wife's second pickup of the day, Festa's Quest for the NES, a game I've never played before, but she is a massive Addams Family fan, so she knew she had to pick this one up. And this got me looking a little bit more into some of the NES games missing from my collection. Now, I haven't got the biggest NES collection by a long way, only about 20 box games and probably less games than that loose, and it's definitely a console I want to collect for a lot harder in 2025. But that's a story for another time. Just perusing some of the games here, I already have a copy of Castlevania 1 and 2 for the NES, but sadly this is a game I do not have for my NES. Sadly, I also don't own this game for the NES with an eye-watering £180 price tag, Castlevania Dracula's Curse. But trust me, perhaps by the end of 2025, this is a game which will be in my collection. Like I said, watch this space for something coming very soon. This seller also pulled out a box of bits which they hadn't put out for sale yet, and I managed to find another steelbook in here for the Xbox 360 I have never seen before. No, not this tiny Tina's Wonderland one. I already own that one. It's this one right here. Watch Dogs for the Xbox 360 for just £5. It's a 360 steelbook I've never seen before. It has no disc, it's case only, but never seen it. £5, let's pick it up. We'd seen some retro toys earlier on here at the Games Market, but this toy line right here is one of my favourite of all time. The Jurassic Park 1993 Kenner toy line is absolutely iconic. It is quite possibly my favourite toy line of all time, from undoubtedly my favourite movie of all time. Every time I see these toys, they just fill me with nostalgia. I love them so much. Just really nice to see them and just feel the nostalgia. One of the final stalls here at the end of the Games Market goes to show you don't need to break the bank to pick up some cool retro and modern games here at the Games Market. This EA Sports double header for the Megadrive is absolutely iconic, and to be able to pick up a piece of retro gaming history for just a couple of quid is super cool, especially here at Gaming Market. Some cool AEW t-shirt bundles, some other cool bits here, and a Wii game I have never ever seen before. I almost picked this up for £1 just because of the what of it. Girls Life Sleepover Party. The Wii had such a vast array of shovelware. What even is this? We're coming to the end of the gaming market. Does anyone else get to this point when they are just burnt out? It's like information overload. And I just kind of start to shut down ever so slightly. I'm just kind of flicking through games, looking at them, putting them back. I think after about an hour, 2 hours of hunting at any of these game markets, my brain is just absolute mush. And this is where I just start to make normally bad decisions. And normally when my wallet closes its door. Final find here in Norwich was this steelbook once again for the Xbox 360. Tom Clancy's End War for 20 quid. By this point, like I said, my brain was broken. My wallet was broken, so I did pass on this one. Let me know in the comments down below if I should have picked this one up for 20 quid. There we have it then, folks. That was Video Game Retro Market here at the Forum in the heart of Norwich. Now, this was only the second year of this gaming market. I must say, this year blew last year out of the water. I definitely prefer the Forum as a venue rather than the UEA where the market was last year. This was an absolutely incredible market. Yes, it looks small, but it definitely was a case of quality over quantity. Every single stall was packed with awesome items, from cheap bangers to holy grail pickups. Let's go back to the games room and check them out. Here we are then, back in the games room from the Video Game Retro Market Norwich, and a massive shout out to the organisers for letting me have early entry. It was absolutely packed by the end. It was a massive success. I have spent a lot of money. You know I could have spent a lot more, but we have some absolutely incredible items to add to the collection. If you've been a fan of the channel for a while, you will know I'm a massive steelbook collector. Everywhere I go, I always keep my eye out for steelbooks which I need from the collection. Our first pickups are, of course, some steelbooks from this seller right here, Secondhand Treasures Norfolk. I'll link them in the description down below. And I managed to pick up two Xbox 360 steelbooks which I have never seen before. The first of which is one of my favourite games for the Xbox 360, Vanquish, an absolutely incredible game, and of course an absolutely beautiful steelbook in amazing condition with the slipcase. And this is one I have never ever seen before, and what a beauty of a steelbook this is. It is of course complete with the manual, and honestly any Xbox 360 steelbooks I can find these days I'm going to pick up. And the second steelbook is also for the Xbox 360, Prince of Persia: The Forgotten Sands, and this again is one I've never seen before. Once again complete with the slipcase in absolutely incredible condition, and again an absolutely beautiful steelbook. And even better, this one also comes with some lithographs, so something I've never seen before, and very happy to add both of these to my steelbook collection. Next up, we have the first of 2 games which my wife picked up for her collection while we're at the gaming market. This game right here, 2 Point Hospital Jumbo Edition for the Switch. She really likes these kind of simulation building games, especially for the Switch. And it's fairly common to see 2 Point Hospital, but it's very rare to see this Jumbo Edition which comes with all of the DLC. So very happy that she managed to pick this one up for her gaming collection. I had a hit list going into this market of games which I was hoping to find to add to the collection, and we managed to find not 1 but 2 of these games, the first of which was the cheapest game on the list, Duke Nukem Time to Kill for the PlayStation 1. And here's the thing, this game is no longer sold by CEX, so it's a bit harder to find this one, and I paid the exact price I wanted to pay, just £10 for this PlayStation 1 banger, complete with the manual, and this now completes my Duke Nukem PS1 collection. The second game we managed to find on that want list was this game right here, Dungeons and Dragons for the Megadrive. I'm a massive D&D fan, and honestly, this looks like one of the best retro D&D games ever made. I did pay up slightly for this one, £10 more than the CEX price, but this is the thing, when you are hunting at gaming markets like this one, chances are you normally are going to pay a little bit more, but honestly, I'm just very happy to find this game, which I've never seen before in the wild. From the same seller, my wife picked up her second game of the day, Festus Quest for the NES. And this is a game I have never seen before, never heard anything about, but my wife is a massive Addams Family fan, so as soon as she saw this one, she knew she needed to add it to her game collection. The final item I picked up from the same seller was another Xbox 360 Steelbook, which I have never seen before, this time Watch Dogs. Now this is case only, but I have a copy of the game already, but I've never seen this Xbox 360 Steelbook ever before. I'm not sure if it came with a slipcase or came as part of a special edition, but I just know now is the time to buy these Xbox 360 Steelbooks, as the price of everything Xbox 360 just seems to be going higher and higher. I just want to grab as many as I can while I can. Which brings us on to our final pickup this time, and I do not say this lightly, this is the mintiest N64 game I've ever seen in my entire life, and I paid the CEX boxed complete price for this game, and this game is Donkey Kong 64, a game which has been sorely missing from my N64 collection for a very long while, and for a very specific reason. I've been holding out to buy a complete boxed copy of this game, and by complete I mean complete with the expansion pack. When this game first came out, it came with the expansion pack in the box, and more often than not, when you see a copy of this game in the wild, it does not come with the expansion pack, because most people who bought the game put the expansion pack straight into their N64. And it's kind of embarrassing to admit this, but I've never owned an N64 expansion pack. And there's only a handful of games which require this expansion pack to play, including this game right here. And I own now every single N64 game which requires the expansion pack. I'm being super delicate for this one, because look at the condition of this one. My hands are actually shaking holding this. It's so incredibly minty. It even has the tool required to get the old jumper pack out of the N64. This is absolute mint. The manual is incredibly crispy. It has every single piece of literature in here, every little leaflet, even the poster. This is in the most amazing condition pretty much of any N64 game I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm super happy to add this one to my N64 boxed collection, and honestly, where else can you find amazing retro like this than at one of the many amazing gaming markets here in the UK. There we have it then, folks. That was the absolutely incredible video game retro market Norwich, and it just goes to show there is something for everyone at these video game markets. From the cheap bangers to the holy grail items, you never know what to expect when you hit one of these video game markets all around the UK. And if you enjoyed this video, fear not, it's not very long until my next gaming market. The day after this video drops, I'm heading to Nottingham Video Game Market, and who knows, maybe I'll see you there. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe, and as always, keep playing the game. See you all soon!